I don't know about you, I'm kind of getting to the point where I want to jump up and congratulate someone. So this will be our last award before we take a brief break for dessert. So next up we have the Open Source Contributor category, and this category will be presented by the Judge Dave Lane. Dave is the President of the New Zealand Open Source Society. He advocates for the greater use and contribution of free and open source software by organisations in both the public and private sectors, and he advocates for mandatory open standards for government. So without further ado, welcome back to Dave.
Tēnā koutou I tēnei ai. Lovely to be with you all this evening, and it's very exciting, as every other time I've been to these awards, to see such a great and dynamic community turn up in force. Open source has long had a bit of a stigma, I suppose, associated with the idea that you have to be a developer in order to be a contributor. And many times have I heard people say, I think this open source thing is really cool, but I'm not a developer, so I have no idea what I can do with it. And I'm very pleased to say that this year the judging has been very exciting, because it's clear that people don't have to be developers to make a real important, vital contribution to free and open source software. In fact, I actually think that we could extend the programmer's crone, which I was recently made aware of, and it resonated with me. You can extend this to beyond programming. You can extend this to things like building communities and writing documentation and encouraging people to get involved in open source, free and open source projects. The developer's crone is, we did it not because it was easy. We did it because we thought it would be easy. So without further ado, I think that applies across a lot of different domains. Without further ado, the first finalist is Desley Simons. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And she is the community manager for the Totra government user group. It's clear from the sorts of glowing recommendations that came with her application that she's really had a big impact on a lot of people. And so for those of you who don't know, the Totra system is a fork of the Moodle learning management system used in a kind of a corporate context, and it's really been spearheaded from here in Wellington and New Zealand in general. And so Desley has done great work in building up the community around this government user group, and particularly she's been successful in supporting women to enter this field. And so that's really great to see. And the next finalist is Neil Creswell, and he's the driving force behind the development of the Portainer software solution, which actually is designed to make it easier for people to make use of a very important tool nowadays, which some of you may have heard, called Docker. I've just been sitting at the table with him just now, and apparently the Portainer software has now been downloaded 700 million times. So this is potentially sort of world-changing type software. So from here in Aotearoa, he's had a huge impact on a burgeoning area in computing in general, which is container management, and doing it without being a developer. So the next finalist is Robert Lyon. Robert has worked on the Mahara project for quite a few years by the looks of it. He has been working both as a developer and as a community advocate, and working within, both having had a big part in 4 major feature releases of Mahara, and I think there's another one coming out very soon, so that's probably 5. And what's more, he's shown a great generosity in working with the community that ensures that particular project has been such a great success. I know that a lot of people, I've been telling a lot of people lately about the Mahara portfolio management system for students, so I know that it's being used all across New Zealand and many other parts of the world as well. And finally, we have Victoria Spagnolo, and she has been a major contributor in the Drupal project, something that's near and dear to my heart, having spent many, many years trying to unravel the mysteries of Drupal, which never seem to become any more apparent. But she has managed not only to not only to work out, to support the community that's building migration tools for the Drupal project, but also generally improve the community as a whole. And she also has made great effort to improve the documentation, and I can't imagine why anyone would want to migrate away from Drupal. I'm assuming they're all migrating to Drupal, but either way, it's a very, very valuable contribution to the the massive Drupal open source community. And the winner is Victoria Spagnolo. Congratulations. See here. Is Victoria here? Ah, here she comes.
This comes as quite a shock, and I'm not one to say a whole lot, even amongst my family and friends. And I know I'm speaking to the people who already understand this, but all I have to say really is sharing is good. We need to do more of it and help each other.